Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first ever video. I've came across something that caught my attention that felt really relatable to me and to you guys. This is about a wild world of dating apps and the challenges that people face. It's from Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, featuring couples therapist Lori Gottlieb. So they basically talk about the biggest struggles that people face with dating apps. The original video link will be down in the description down below.
To some of my friends who are single and they're over 35, they've really never been in a relationship before. The things that they say as reasons for why they're not giving this person a chance are so unbelievably petty. Like, I have one friend and she knows who she is. She's a very good friend of mine. She's been a good friend of mine for more than a decade.
Shout out to your friend.
Yeah. But I was on her profile once and she told me that the reason she wasn't going to give this guy a chance on this dating app was because in the back of the picture that his display picture, he had boxes on top of his cupboard. And she was like, oh God, he puts boxes on top of his cupboard. So that's why she didn't give him a chance.
Awesome, petty. I love to see it. Honestly, it's pretty wild. A friend of his, a girl, by the way, was in her mid to late 30s who hasn't gotten into a real relationship as of yet, was complaining about a guy that she found online in a dating app that having boxes on top of his cupboard. Shouldn't be complaining like this. It's surprising to know that some or most people hasn't gotten into a real relationship as of yet. I think it's strange for me just to base on a single photo on a Tinder that just came out of nowhere, like on Tinder, on Bumble, dating apps, you name it. But hey, if you agree with me, let me know, or disagree with me just because you're putting yourself out there. Or if you have any horror experiences as well, just let me know too. I would love to know about your stories and your experiences down in the comments below. First person impressions do matter in dating apps, and they can correlate into real life. When you upload a perfect background or a perfect angle on dating apps, and it's like the same thing for picking a nice outfit and you want to show it to others in real life. When you run into people outside, when you go outside, touch some grass that is people populated, it's almost the same thing as running into people on dating apps, just because of not expecting to be there or run into them at all in the first place. Same with real life. You just see how they walk, how they talk, a little bit of razzle dazzle, you know? And even though dating apps do give you combos or combo starters, and they give you pretty good bios or that is really funny, it doesn't give them the whole overall impression or character. That's why I said it in this video. Just because you don't want to go out with him solely for the smallest reasons possible, like having something in the background, or what Steven said, having boxers on top of the cupboard, it doesn't mean he's worth giving a chance. Maybe he was busy. Maybe he was putting himself out there for the very first time. You never know. Think about it. You probably took dozens of pictures by yourself, maybe at home, maybe out there, had something in the background that you took and shared it with your friends and family and didn't care at the time just because the whole overall picture was nice. Dating apps in general tend to be about the most picture perfect and the best looking angles you haven't seen before. People in dating apps generally tend to nitpick out the smallest details or point out its flaws that they didn't like, and it doesn't really curate that in real life. Let's say, however, you do point out the smallest things in those photos, it means ruling them out of being long-term material or marriage material. Ooh, enjoying my commentary? Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more upcoming content. She then explains how men and women approaches dating apps and how it could lead up to interesting mismatches.
So here's the thing. What happens is people look at dating profiles and are going through the apps. And I think, men and women tend to do this a little bit differently. Men are like, am I attracted to this person? Swipe, which also doesn't necessarily work out for them. Like they're not really looking for who do I want to be with. And women do the opposite. They look at it they'll look at all the pictures. They'll read everything that the person wrote as if, do I want to marry this person potentially or not? As opposed to, do I want to spend 45 minutes having coffee with this person?
She is partially true on this subject here. Just because attraction doesn't guarantee an instant connection right away. Just because someone's attractive doesn't mean they'll be the right person for you. I have to say, a lot of guys like us swipe right not just because we are fully convinced about. We do it just because of the limited options or limited pool that we have in the dating market.
And I think that's different from in the past when you saw many more people in real life than you do now, where you're seeing more people online most of the time. And I think for women, the expectations are, I think it's confused with feminism. So feminism is great. I'm a feminist. But I think that feminism is not this person has to meet all of these criteria that are not really human.
I partially agree with her statement there of spending 40 minutes of coffee time, or is this the person who I want to marry? That makes only sense for women as they age or as they grow older. It doesn't make sense for younger women just because, there is a few exceptions out there for younger women who do want to spend a lot of time and energy, and it's just the person who want to marry. But generally, younger women on there want the thrill or just on there for validation. As they grow older, they do use dating apps as well, but only to find if this person is for marriage material. And it's harder to find someone out there who meets those requirements, that they lowered their expectations, the whole brainwash of feminism, they're waking up from it. That's the best thing as well. A lot of women are learning that this is not what they wanted and want something meaningful. The requirements back in the day, or feminism, I'm not sure if it's still ongoing or not, that it just satisfied those kind of requirements and don't have to worry or look behind their shoulder just because it's the norm. They do think about these things. Just a quick budging for a second here. She goes on a tangent about a scenario about a girl going on a date with a guy and talks about the illusion of dating apps. Here you go.
And I think that because the apps give this illusion of so many people are juggling multiple people at a time. So someone will go on a date with someone and then they'll say, yeah, that was fine. Not, maybe it was like a 7. So, nah. And then they're like, I have another date tomorrow. Or they're leaving the date and they're walking to their car and they're swiping on the apps already. Because they have the illusion that there's so many people out there. But if you just keep juggling people, you're never going to get to know anybody and to know if that person is someone that you want to be with.
I agree with Lori that people have this idea of finding someone better in dating apps. And I know that's understandable, that you want to find someone the perfect fit, and that you get the illusion or the idea of finding someone better. The grass is always greener on the other side. What people say all the time, online, even your friends, they tell you, oh yeah, you'll definitely find a match out there in dating apps. But I think that during the date, when you, let's say, went on a date with this person, right? You had this thought of going on a dating app right after, and that kind of, well, no, not kind of, but it ruins the whole experience of going on a date, and it makes it less meaningful. It feels like you were less present. I know you could enjoy yourself during that moment, during that date, when things was going well, but you just think that, or in the back of your mind, that you'll definitely find someone better. If one person is less invested or less time, or not time, but if you weren't really in there, it ruins the whole party, or ruins both parties of men and women. If one is less invested, then one has to take in more effort, time, and energy to make sure that other person doesn't feel one-sided, or one-sided in a sense.
So what would you say to a serial dater then? You'd say to go on the second date even if the person is a 7, or is there? Because I know people that have go on hundreds of dates a year,
Yeah.
and I think statistically they must have met someone that they would have been happy with by now.
Yeah, maybe. It depends if they're making good choices about who they go on dates with. So some people will just go on dates to go on dates. Other people, if they're being really, if they're saying, hey, this person seems like someone I would want to be with, and that's who they choose to go on a first date with, then yes. But I would say the question you ask yourself at the end of a first date is, did I have a good time? The answer is yes. I would go on a second date. It doesn't have to be I had a life-changing, transformative, I was, Cupid's arrow shot me. No, just, did I have a good time with this person? Yeah. Go on a second date. See what happens the second time.
I believe that when they go on multiple dates, I think they are very unsatisfied with the dates, and also they do enjoy themselves, but maybe they have commitment issues, maybe they're not in the right headspace, maybe they have a lot of things going on in their life, and so usually that happens, or maybe they're just not ready to settle down, and that's totally fine. That's okay. Just go out there, have fun, enjoy the moment, and not a lot of people are looking to date to marry. They're maybe just want to get to know a person, how they are like as a person, as a whole, and go from there and meet someone new. Not a lot of people stick to the ideology of dating to marry. That's about it. Other people do have those ideas, but it's hard to come across with those kind of people. Sure, when they say, when you go on a first date with someone that you found really interesting, that really was different from your expectations, and even even made them, I wouldn't say better, but it just that you didn't expected them to be how they are, or how they act. And so back to the topic of going on the first date, go on a second date right away, or if you had a good time, go on a second date. Some people are unsatisfied with that first date, and you don't have to go to another date. People just go on dates just to go on dates, and they just don't want anything more or anything less. They just want to get to know a person, if they're the right fit, and maybe later on, if they do connect, or one person reaches out and the other person's already, they could go on several more dates.
Who has higher expectations typically, men or women? And who is most likely or most willing to adjust their expectations?
I think it really depends on the person. And I think that the expectations are higher in different areas. I think for men, the expectations are very high around physical appearance. And I think for the younger generation, especially because they're growing up on all of these thirst traps that are posted on social media, and they're seeing all of these girls just posting, all of these really provocative pictures that have been filtered, that have been, it took them 30 shots to get that one shot that they put up. And so when they see people in real life and what they really are like on a day-to-day basis, they have these very unrealistic expectations.
I disagree with Lori here. Men having high standards isn't the case. Of course, younger generation or younger guys growing up with social media, growing up with thirst traps, growing up with all these tools that you see people online, it's not true at all. Of course, it's not as real, or you don't see supermodels or super attractive people that you see on a daily basis, and it's not as real. And of course, it does play a factor when they are younger, and of course appearance do play some kind of role just because you want that physical attraction, but it all boils down to emotional attraction, and that makes it a lot more appealing and enjoyable. We want someone to be peaceful with, someone to hang out with, and don't cause a lot of ruckus, Of course, generally, younger guys do have those kind of expectations, but they do grow out of it as they age. And again, it all comes down to just personality and emotional attraction with that person.
There was one where somebody said, oh, he did this impression from Austin Powers, this movie. He did this impression and it was really embarrassing. And I was so cringy. It was like, he was just nervous. He was on a first date and he was trying to make you laugh. Why don't you go on a second date? And if he does something cringy on the second date, okay, then you know. But a lot of times on a first date, people are just really nervous. So they did one thing, but the rest of the date was great. Go on another date with them.
Do you think it's really that? Like in the case of the Austin Powers impression or whatever it was, is that really the truth? Was it really that, or is there something else going on in their psychology where they've got commitment issues, or because I just think surely it can't be that.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think when you really get down to it, you see that, there are reasons that people will find something wrong with a partner if they are avoidant of intimacy.
I agree with Lori here that fear of intimacy can play some kind of role when meeting someone new. Of course, it works with some people that they're ready right away, or they want to hold hands or kiss right away, and it works out. Of course, I'm happy for them. And waiting around can definitely work too. If you want a long-term relationship, you want to know if this is the right person or if this is the person who's suitable for you, and that definitely works for people too. Yeah, I have to agree with Lori. And also, if you guys want to see the whole video, will be down in the link of the description down below again. And if you guys like my video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you have anything that you want to share down below. Alrighty, thanks for watching.